The GameCube lost the console war, but 25 years later, its legacy has never been stronger. When I use the term underrated, I don't just mean sales numbers. Even though the GameCube was dominated by the PlayStation 2, it was also outsold by the original Xbox. The term signifies something else. It's about a console that didn't get the recognition it deserved upon its initial release. And in the GameCube's case, that gap between perception and reality is huge. While everyone else was busy playing the PS2, Nintendo quietly built a game library that still holds up today. On paper, the GameCube looks like a failure. It sold 21.74 million consoles. Compare that to the PS2, which sold an outstanding 160 million consoles. Even the original Xbox sold more, with 24 million. The GameCube also had limited third-party support. The tiny disc format offered less storage capacity than standard DVDs, causing some major third-party publishers to skip the platform entirely. Also, the GameCube had minimal and underutilized online functionality, which was restricted to a handful of games such as Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2. Nintendo's design philosophy for the GameCube prioritized local multiplayer, meaning the GameCube was not part of the online gaming revolution that defined the sixth generation of consoles. By the year 2000, around 75% of American households didn't own a DVD player. The PS2 had a built-in DVD player, and the Xbox allowed for DVD movie playback through an external DVD playback kit, meaning that the majority of households were more inclined to purchase a PS2. Some of the greatest games of the sixth console generation were released on the GameCube. Resident Evil 4 debuted on the GameCube in 2005, and it changed third-person shooters and survival horror games forever. RE4 is one of the greatest and most impactful video games in history. The fifth game in the Metroid series, Metroid Prime, revitalized the franchise and is one of the best-selling games on the GameCube, and one of the defining video games of the 2000s. The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker initially received backlash from some fans due to the cel-shaded graphics. However, now it is regarded as one of the finest Legend of Zelda games. Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, is proof that Nintendo can produce quality, mature-rated video games. Eternal Darkness is the first M-rated game published by Nintendo, and is one of my personal favorite GameCube games. Super Smash Bros. Melee is one of my most played games on the GameCube. The character roster is excellent. Fox is my go-to character. This game features the best multiplayer to be had on the GameCube. Soul Calibur 2 is one of my favorite fighting games of all time. The GameCube version features Link as a guest character, equipped with the Master Sword, shield, bow, boomerang, and bombs. Some other excellent games released on the GameCube include Super Mario Sunshine, F-Zero GX, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, the Resident Evil remake, Mario Kart Double Dash, and many more. The GameCube era was Nintendo at its most experimental and creative. During the console's run, bold, innovative franchises launched, like Animal Crossing, Pikmin, Chibi Robo, Battalion Wars, Luigi's Mansion, Beautiful Joe, Super Monkey Ball, and WarioWare. Nintendo also took a big risk by launching the GameCube without a Super Mario game, instead opting for titles like Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader, Batman Vengeance, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Nintendo created the GameCube with a compact design, complete with a handle, and it introduced its first wireless controller, the Wavebird. The standard GameCube controller is one of my favorite Nintendo controllers ever, and one of the most comfortable controllers my hands have ever held. Today, the GameCube is one of Nintendo's most beloved consoles. The console has a variety of fun, exciting games across all genres. GameCube prices have risen significantly due to 2000's nostalgia and limited re-releases. Complete copies of rare titles like Cubivore and Gotcha Force now go for over $500. In the early 2000s, gaming was headed in a mature direction, as adults sought out game franchises like Halo and GTA. The GameCube's console aesthetic and purple color scheme prompted some to label the GameCube as the kiddie console. In retrospect, this is ironic because Nintendo released over 40 M-rated games on the GameCube, like Killer 7, 13, Geist, Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, and Turok Evolution, proving that the console was not made solely for children. Nintendo Switch Online members now have access to GameCube classics, which means that a whole new generation can discover these beloved classics for the first time. Both the N64 and Wii outsold the GameCube. The N64 sold 32.93 million consoles, and the Wii sold an outstanding 101.63 million during its lifetime. However, the GameCube is superior to both systems in several different ways. While the N64 has some all-time great games like Super Mario 64, GoldenEye 007, and The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, the GameCube's game library is larger and more diverse. The Wii's game library is larger than the GameCube's, with standout titles like Super Mario Galaxy, Donkey Kong Country Returns, and Super Smash Bros. Brawl. However, the Wii has a high volume of shovelware. The GameCube controller improved on the N64's design in nearly every way and remains the preferred choice for traditional gaming over the Wiimote. Furthermore, one of the best console accessories of all time was released for the GameCube, the Game Boy Player, which allows original Game Boy Color, and GBA carts to be played on your TV. And that's why I think the GameCube is the most underrated Nintendo console. At the time, it was minimized. It lost the console war to Sony and Microsoft. But looking back, it delivered the goods. Its game library is excellent and diverse. Nintendo took creative risks and released many innovative and experimental titles. With its fourth console, Nintendo prioritized gameplay over raw graphical power and hyper-realism. The GameCube remains one of Nintendo's finest consoles. What are your thoughts on the GameCube? Do you think it's underrated? Let me know in the comments. Be sure to check out these two videos I made. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of The Voiceover Gamer.